I'm Karina. I'm a senior product designer specializing in design systems, and it's a real pleasure to finally be here with you. I've been with NetGuru for the past 3 years, and during this time, I have worked with clients from US, Australia, Iraq, Germany, Poland, and most recently, Switzerland. I have experience in industries such as fintech, a lot of this one, entertainment, automotive, healthcare. That's all that comes to my mind now. And every single project I participated in either had a design system or at least a decent library of components. And if it didn't have it at the time when I joined, well, I was responsible for changing it. Also, many of my colleagues have worked on amazing design systems. As NetGuru, we have built 14 from scratch and contributed to at least 40. Maybe there are more that I don't even know about. The ones we can talk about are, for example, JoyStream and Homebase. And I'm happy to share links to these case studies with you. They should appear in the chat soon. As an agency, because NetGuru is in fact a one-stop shop, we create a lot of teasers, prepare demos, show sneak peeks of what we can offer. We, of course, also help clients start projects from scratch or kickstart their own design systems, clean up the ones that they have. And if each time we were to begin with drawing buttons, inputs, and other elements, that would be very time-consuming, right? So enter Silk, an ongoing internal initiative of the NetGuru designers. That's the thing that I'm going to talk about today. So what is Silk? Silk is a set of Figma components based on a powerful variable setup. Well, if it's just that, why not use one of the existing solutions that you can download from Figma community? Well, it's because Silk is more than that. It's also a set of standards that can make work of multiple designers consistent. They define how to use the components as well as build them. It's a collection of design patterns so that designers working with it know when to use an error message versus info message or how to deal with disabled states. And it's a tool that helps designers write, so they don't have to worry whether to use sentence case or title case or how to format the dates. Bonus, we are working on an automated way for extracting knowledge from all these sets of guidelines, as well as proofreading the existing designs, but that's another topic. Another important part of this project, especially for me as a leader, is education. Everyone at NetGuru can contribute to Silk, and everyone can use it. People involved in this project are both design system experts as well as newbies. By working together, we share knowledge so that everyone can learn. And my wish for every designer at NetGuru, and we are around 60, is to feel confident using, maintaining, and building design systems. And that's what they can do, contributing and using Silk. So let's dive in. The most tangible thing about Silk is its components. The set that we have now is sufficient to build a typical delivery super app for mobile. As we go forward, we will be supplementing the project with components specific to fintech, e-commerce, and then expanding to web. But the components would be nothing if they were not based on a strict variable setup. So let's understand what variables are. And if you already know, please bear with me. That's going to be very quick. I just want everyone to be on the same page. So let's say we have defined these 3 types of corner radius for our elements. Then whenever we create a new element, we don't type manually a value, but we make a link. We say, take this value from here. So for example, we say these shapes should inherit the value from the first definition, the next one from the second, and these guys from the last one. Now, if I change the value of the last variable from 16 to 32, the elements will update automatically. These variables that we use in Figma can be implemented in code as tokens, as you probably know. So here we have just squares, but if you think that these things are in fact components and that their instances can be reproduced across the entire interface, you understand how powerful that is. So the corners are simple. Let's move on to colors, which we have prepared in a way that can really empower our designers. In Silk, we have a large palette of colors. Each has 12 shades. Boom. And they are prepared in such a way that both light and dark mode interfaces can be created. They are called global colors. That's the name of the variable collection that we have. And the names of the variables match the value they hold. So blue means blue, green means green. In fact, these colors are never directly used in the interface. And they define our topmost layer of variables. Every single thing inherits from that. So below in the hierarchy, we have accent colors and neutral colors. These variables are just containers linking to the colors from the global palette. So I don't say accent 600 is #685 whatever. I say accent 600 is blueberry 600. And then we have yet one more layer where we define colors for text, icons, surface, border, etc. So I say interactive surface, so the color for background for buttons, for example, is always pointing to accent 700, and its pressed state to 800. These colors are then assigned to components and custom UI elements. If you are familiar with variables still, that's no news to you. Maybe just another example of how things can be done well. However, the most important part of the color from our palette is that they are interchangeable. So the distance between shades of blueberry are the same as distances between the shades of fuchsia or any other color. This means that in every context where blueberry 200 is a good choice in terms of aesthetics and what's more important, accessibility, fuchsia 200 will work just as fine. So when a designer picks up Silk for a new project, they can easily create a custom look just by relinking the variables. They can say, I want my accent colors to point not to blueberry, which is the default for us, but to orange instead. And this will affect all the components. We have the same for neutrals as well. In fact, in Silk, we have 6 different shades of neutrals. If you are more into visual design, you probably know that the true gray often seems quite warm and does not go well with interfaces that have a lot of blue, like our blueberry. So here I have used that warmer sample because it goes well with orange, but for the default version of Silk, which we have seen just a moment before, we have chosen the one with the cooler version. And if you already have your brand color that you want to use in the interface, we have a whole setup of how this can be done. So you just give us a sample and we follow a process to expand it into the full 12 shade palette. And shout out to my colleague who has prepared this amazing system. For typography, we have prepared a similar setup. So we have granular elements such as font family, weight, spacing, and size, and then we combine them into a style. So text 500 points to selected elements from the larger collection of definitions. H1, a different style, still refers to the same collection, just different elements. If you need to create a new style for the sake of your product, you have ready-made elements that you just need to put together, and they will look coherent, cohesive, and harmonious because we have used a type scale as to create the base elements. This way, you can modify your UI on the highest level. So going from Silk default to your Silk custom by changing colors, typography, and other elements such as corners, spacing, borders, and elevation. So we are basically headless, but with some more specific ways of customizing and with more guidelines on how to do that. And we are approaching the more problematic part. So to do a lot of magic, additional plugins are needed, for example, because Figma still has variables in beta. Or implementation is a separate issue. I'm a designer, but my designs are worth very little if they never leave Figma. So from the start, we have worked with developers to set up the variables in the correct way. And as we test Silk for both internal and external projects, we discover new interesting issues. For example, contrasts that we have minutely measured are defined and defined for most of the screens are not enough for low quality post displays sometimes. These are just a few examples. I'm mentioning them because, of course, we've managed to overcome them somehow. But I want to underline that no tool is perfect, and Silk does not come with all the solutions. But people who build it understand it, and they know how to use it. So our goal is not to create one magic button that can fix everything. Our goal is to create a tool that is understandable and learnable, and that sets high standards, and that serves as a benchmark. Because I believe more in people than I believe in tools. Every tool needs to come with an operator, and I want our designers, users, and makers of Silk to be experts, ready to tackle any challenges and modify this or any other setup they encounter with confidence and ease, because, well, once they have built and used this very complex system that we have here. That's all I have for you today. I know there are a lot of issues that I haven't even touched upon. If you're interested in continuing this conversation, I am. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to chat. Thank you.